Hi everyone, Carrotney here. Happy Trichmas! It's officially Trichmas. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of seconds to come on here, and then I'm gonna get started talking about what the heck Trichotillomania is, and answer some questions if you guys have any. Oh goodness, excuse me. It is Trichmas, which is why I have my beautiful Christmas tree in the background. And if you love my dog mom as fuck, because, that is the story of my life. I'm a dog mom all the way. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds here, and we're going to get started talking about what Trichotillomania is. Hey there, girl. What's going on? It's Trichmas. 12 days of Trichmas is here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. First of all, thank you for participating and supporting me. This is something I've been working really hard on, and I am super excited about it. Trichmas is all about providing you with the tools and the support that you guys need to... Sorry, I think someone just got home and my dogs are barking. So Trichmas is all about providing you with the tools and the support that you need to get better control or to manage your trichotillomania or BFRB, body-focused repetitive behavior, which can be hair pulling, skin picking, nail biting, lip, cheek biting, picking at your fingers. There's all kinds of things. And then also, I'm doing a Trichmas giveaway, which I'm super excited about. There is more and more stuff being added as Trichmas is going on, so enter now and you just will be able to see how it's going to grow and how much more fun stuff you're going to get. As of right now, you are for sure getting a free... So the winner is getting a free spot in my Kick Trick system, which is going to basically be Trichmas, but in much more detail. You're going to get, one-on-one time with me, where we'll go over identifying triggers and your urges, how to manage them, different techniques to use, stuff like that. And then there'll also be ways to interact with the group in general so that you can get support from people who are just like you, and you guys can, encourage each other, support one another back and forth. Obviously, I'll be in there too, and it's just going to be a really good time. I'm super excited. And then there's a couple other fun things that are going to be happening. Like we just found out we're going to get some fiddle packs from Picking Me Foundation. Super excited about that. You can get a free tapping session with Liz from Tap Into Health, which I haven't tried myself, but it's definitely on my list of things to do. And I've, used some of her tapping techniques, like with the chin, and then there's, the fingers, and they do work. And I don't know how to explain it, but they do. That helps. And that in itself is worth entering for, if you ask me. And then there's also going to be a bunch of free like beauty, hair products, skincare products, free beauty samples. I'm going to have a bunch of free fidgets for you. We're getting specs, which are those little magnetic beads that are super fun to play with. We got the fiddle packs. Fidgets by Jack is going to give you an awesome discount to get anything in their shop. They have they have scented dough that I like to play with. They have a white lavender. It's absolutely my favorite. Little keychain fidgets, pressure pillows, which I'm going to give 2 of those away. There's all kinds of fun stuff, and we got more coming. So and then there's bonus entries, ways to get bonus entries, all kinds of fun stuff. So, and that's all going on through all of Trichmas. And then on the very last day of Trichmas, the winner will be announced. And then after that is when doors to the Kick Trick system will be open to the public. And I'm super excited. Okay, so let's get started. What the heck is Trichotillomania? Okay, well, it is technically a mental disorder. I don't really like calling it that, but that is what it is. It involves recurring, irresistible urges to pull your hair. So, like I pull from my scalp. Used to pull from my lashes. That's how it started. So you could pull from your scalp, your lashes, eyebrows, armpits, pubic hair is another one. Basically anywhere that you have hair, you can pull it. And then this happens regardless of trying to stop. So irresistible is the key word there, because the irresistible urges is what makes it so frustrating. And then there's also, on top of that, because of the constant pulling, it often leads to patchy bald spots. And, people who have trichotillomania will go through great lengths to hide the fact that they have it, because it's embarrassing, and you don't want to have to, when someone comes up to you and asks you what's wrong with your hair, or why don't you have any eyebrows, and your answer is, oh, because I pull my hair out, that's never, goes over very well. And then you don't want to be someone who lies about it, and then you also don't want to be that person that gets all like offended by them asking, and it's just like, that in itself is a whole whirlwind. Hey, Mama! So glad you're here. All right. So yeah, they go through great lengths to hide their hair loss, because it is humiliating. As far as types of pulling, there are two different kinds. Most people who have trichotillomania will suffer both types. It might start more as an automatic and change into a focus, but the two types are focus and automatic. So automatic is the subconscious pulling, so you're not even aware that you're doing it. This happens a lot to people while you're driving, or maybe when you're watching TV, reading, doing, sitting at your desk at work and you're scrolling through your emails. You might be pulling at your hair. Laying in bed is a big one. Looking in the mirror is a big one for a lot of people, whether you pull your hair, pick your skin, whatever. The mirror is a big trigger, because you can see all the things that trigger you to pull. Then there's focused, focused pulling is more when you're aware that you're pulling, and you might be like, there's people who are looking for just that one specific hair, that that satisfying one. So it might have like a rougher texture than others, or it's thicker piece of hair if you have thin hair, or gray hairs are a big one. Those are like the worst enemy. Boredom in general is just a big one for that too. And then there's also people that will, once they pull the hair, they'll examine the hair, or if they get the root of the hair, sometimes they'll pull at or play with the root of the hair. I know some people roll it on their lips and stuff. For people who pick, it's often, you're specifically like searching your skin, looking for, the bumps and the scabs that you're feeling for the bumps, or you're looking for the blemishes on your face. Ingrown hairs, you're looking for your ingrown hairs, or just anything that you can like pick, pop. That's also a big one. So as far as urges go, they're typically related to emotion. Now, most people associate it immediately with a negative emotion, but they can be triggered by both negative and positive emotion. So negative emotions would be obviously stress, anxiety, the tension, and loneliness, fatigue, you're just frustrated, anger, and then positive feelings can be, I get triggered just by being super excited. Like when something's going really good for my business, like say I, with my pet sitting, say I get a new customer, I get super excited, and then that, it like kind of stimulates me, gets my adrenaline going, and it triggers my urges. There's also that sense of satisfaction, because for most people, pulling is a way to release the tension. So it's a satisfying feeling because the tension is gone. Excuse me. And then as far as, so there's the whole trichotillomania aspect of it, but then there's also the ways that, there are factors that can increase your chances of suffering from something like trichotillomania. So it has been shown that it can be connected to genetics. So if there's a family history of, trichotillomania or any other related body-focused repetitive behavior, you have a higher chance of also having it. Like, for example, I just put it together actually not that long ago that it is very possible that my trichotillomania was passed down to me from my mother, because my mom does not pull at her hair, but she picks at her skin. And I was thinking about it, and I realized, growing up, there was a lot of times when we would be out to dinner, or we used to go on road trips all the time. We'd be in the car, or say we're having a movie night or something, and my mom would be picking at a scab on her arm or her leg, and you would hear my stepdad, "Hey, stop that, don't do that." And then my mom would get all flustered with him, "Oh, I can't help it." So I just, looking back on it, it's oh my gosh, my mom totally has trichotillomania and you didn't even know it. So there's that. Age is also a factor. Most of the time, trichotillomania will, start to appear during early teen years. It can affect, later on in life. It mostly depends on how stress itself affects you. If you don't have a very stressful childhood, it might not hit you until, later on, once you are, say, in college and you start working. It also can affect infants, but they typically will grow out of it, or it just will kind of go away on its own. I would say if it goes on, if the pulling continues past ages 3 or 4, then that's when maybe you would want to start, talking to your doctor about it and see what kind of steps you need to take, and make sure that see what it really is before you just assume. There are other types of trich. So trich is technically a form of body-focused repetitive disorder. A lot of people associate it with OCD. It is categorized under OCD, but it's not a form of OCD, if that makes any sense. So the other things can be, so there's a trichotillomania, which is your hair pulling, dermatillomania or excoriation disorder, that is skin picking. There's the nail biting, lip and cheek biting. I'm trying to think, there's more of them. I'm drawing a blank. But it's can also be related to, if you depression also runs in my family. So I have general depression and anxiety, so that also just ups my risk of trich and it could make it to where my trich might be a little bit more prevalent than someone who doesn't have bad anxiety. And then another thing, I couldn't find a whole lot as to why, but BFRBs tend to affect women more than men. So that's a fun fact. So does anybody have any questions right now? I'm going to take a moment to drink some water. You can type your questions if you have any. Do you guys like my tree for Trichmas? Okay, so I'm going to continue. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the common side effects of living with trich. So we kind of already talked about some of these, but we're going to touch back on them. So there's the emotional distress that comes along with having trich, which is, thank you. Thank you, Mama. So emotional distress can be caused from shame, you just being ashamed of your hair loss, embarrassment, humiliation, low self-esteem is another one. Like I was just talking about, depression and anxiety is also commonly associated with trichotillomania or BFRBs. Social anxiety is another big one, because due to the hair loss, or with the scabbing and red marks and bumps, a lot of people will avoid social interaction because they don't want to deal with the humiliation that is often associated with it. There's also a lot of people who suffer with BFRBs that are afraid of intimacy because they don't want whoever they're with to discover that they have this disorder. And, like, for example, people who pull their lashes, they might not like being intimate with people because that's when people are close to their face, which gives them a better or a higher chance of, seeing that they don't have eyelashes. And then there's just the physical damage of it. You're picking and pulling at your skin. So, that can often lead to bleeding. And then if you are bleeding and you don't, treat it correctly, it was ups your risk of infections. And then there's also for people who pull their hair from the same spot. Like, my pulling is very concentrated, and I typically pull from the top. There's a lot of people who will pull from like down here, like I was talking about, people pull their brows and their eyelashes. But when you pull from the same spot over and over again, it can affect your regrowth, especially if you're pulling the roots with the hairs, because it damages it. So I've heard people, your hair might not grow back as thick there, or I've heard people have their hair grows back completely different. Like, they had light hair their whole life, and then all of a sudden it starts growing back, and they got like these dark hairs coming in. I don't know why that's science. I'm not a scientist. I don't claim to be. And, science just blows my mind. So that's all I got for you on that. But to give you an idea of how many people this disorder can affect, BFRBs, according to the TLC of BFRBs, body-focused repetitive behaviors are as common as 1 in 20. That's a lot of us, people. That's a lot of us. And unfortunately, there's no cure. So basically, at this point in time, all we have is learning how to manage it. And that is, what this is all about. We're going to learn how to manage our hair pulling or skin picking, whatever we do. And we're going to get life back in control, okay? I got you. So before I go into the next point, it's very, very important that you understand how important being in the right mindset is for just getting control of your BFRB in general. So if you're not in the right mindset, you're going to struggle more than if you're in the type of mindset where, you're often, so you have to have a positive yet realistic mindset. So my challenge to you through the 12 days of Trichmas is to choose one of 3 options. So if you're brand new, you're just finding out that your trick that your bad habit isn't just a bad habit and you're not alone. There's more of us and there are ways to get it under control. Just learn as much as you can and just try slowly adding these things that I teach you throughout the weeks into your daily life, and you'll start slowly getting control of your trick. Or you can aim to be pull free, which means you're not going to pull or you're not going to pick for the full 12 days. So that's starting today, no picking or pulling. If you do go for the pick free option, just because you give in and you do pull does not mean that you failed and you can't still participate. You just restart again, pick up the next day. Every day is a new day, a new opportunity to shine. Or there's a lot of people who prefer a pull or a pick less approach. So that would be probably what I recommend for most of you, unless you're a veteran trickster who already kind of has it under control and you're able to move on to the next step of trying to be pull free. So for aiming to be pull or pick less, so your goal would be after the end of the 12 days of Trichmas, that you are able to manage the amount of time that is spent picking or pulling. It should be less by the end. So you have better, instead of just picking for hours before bed, maybe you'll end up where it's just a half hour before bed and that's all you need. It's different for everyone. As we go through this, you'll start seeing what works for you, and there will be things that you're like, oh yeah, that's the perfect way. And please feel free to try. If it doesn't work for you, try something different. If it does work for you, keep doing it. So that's kind of everything that I wanted to go over with you guys. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and shoot them my way, and I will answer anything that you guys have. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. Lots of fun stuff there. And like I said, I'm still adding stuff. So I have some calls with some brands tomorrow, going over some stuff. So even more stuff coming tomorrow. And then, there's still people I'm reaching out to and people I'm hearing from. So more to come on all of that. And so my one question for you right now is I want you to tell me which of the 3 options you're choosing. By you telling me this, I can make sure that Trichmas is giving you guys the information that you need, and it's telling you, if everyone's trying to be pull-free, but I'm aiming it towards everyone who's just learning. Hello! How are you? Sorry, one of my good people I've been talking to all day just joined. So I want to know if you are just trying to learn as much as you can and slowly get it under control. If you're being pull free or if you're being pull less, or pick free, if you're going to be pick or pull free, pick or pull less, or if you're just learning as much as you can because you're new and you're kind of maybe overwhelmed right now by all of this, which is normal. Day by day, I'm going to make more sense of it for you. So that's really all I have for you guys today. If you guys have any questions, I'm here for you. My inbox is always open. You guys can leave comments on any of the Trichmas posts that I do. Or always keep checking out my stories. I'm going to be posting stuff all there. Keep looking for, there's going to be different ways you can get bonus entries. Make sure that you keep out on the lookout for that. And then look for tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be all about how to identify your triggers. So it's going to be a very important one if you want to really work on managing your trick or your derma or whatever BFRB you're struggling with. So thank you. Peace and love. Good night.